Welcome back. In the previous part, we saw the tragic future that awaited mainly Neptunia and caused Maho to travel back in time via Ziri to try and put things right that once went wrong. But anyway, we got a side event over here apparently somewhere, so let's find that.
To worry about. We're safe and sound. What a relief.
We're not safe and sound.
Let's get started.
Alright, so the question is, where exactly is the event?
When in doubt, check the map.
When in doubt, check the map. Probably better to skip through the arcade, isn't it?
Where are we going again?
Ooh, some vents there. So if we skip through the arcade, we can come out on the other side very quickly, rather than trying to travel over the bridges. Sorry, Just how it is, just how it is. I just had the intro on for quite a while, by the way. People have been asking why have I not included the intro in this game, in the Let's Play. It's because experience has taught me now that very much...
I'm sorry. I'll be careful not to pass you next time.
Indeed. That the intros cause content ID issues, so just not included it this time. Why do you two like games that are so out of style? It's the Maids again. Rude. The games I like are plenty popular. I wish you wouldn't judge my tastes in games. It's those girls again. Nep? Are they friends of yours, Neptunia? Well, something like that. That'd be funny if that was the end of the scene. Like, oh, okay then. Times are tough for the arcades, and they've got to prioritize the cabinets that are guaranteed to make money. Sure, but you made it sound like the games that I like aren't popular at all. That's just not true, right? Yeah. Don't twist my words. You both are always... Hi there. Nice to see you all again. What seems to be the trouble today? Well, if it isn't Lady Neptunia, hello. Your timing, as usual, is positively divine. I can't believe Lady Neptune is with you today. It's so nice to meet you. Oh, you don't have to say all that. You're making me blush. What were you all arguing about just now? Straight to business, huh, Neptunia? Let's get down to business. We're about to go to an arcade run by Planetune and request a new arcade cabinet, but as a huge fighting game nerd, I wanted to request a title like Immortal Battle or the Road Fighter the movie game. As a fan of shoot 'em ups, I wanted to request Ambitions of Soon Soon or Mookie Mookie Park. Yep. As you can see, these two are pushing for super obscure titles that nobody else would be interested in. In order to increase the chances of our request being fulfilled, I thought we should all push for the same title, but... I see. That's what all the fuss is about. Speaking of which... What is the title that you wanted to request? Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. Great question. I love music games. So I thought we should request that wonderful nostalgic masterpiece, Taiko Don Don. Even casuals like music games, so I thought this would be a great way to liven up the arcade. It's the perfect request. Here's a thought. With how arcadey Yakuza can be at times, is there a Yakuza arcade game? Someone let me know. What are you talking about? A fighting game would be way better pick, and I want to see if anybody out there is stronger than me. Dodging barrages of bullets pixel by pixel, shooting down the enemy in the name of justice. A shmup is the obvious choice. Again with this. Hey, what do you think, Lady Neptunia? You agree a music game would be best, right? No way, you're into fighting games, right? You want to shoot 'em up, don't you? Hey, why don't you two come with us? The arcade is run by Planetune, so they'll agree to our request if you come with us. Yeah, come on, please. You're really passionate about this, huh? But getting us involved with submitting the request, I think that might be a little, Neptunia, may I have a word with you? What is it, sis? It's not like you two... What? It's not like you two look so serious. There we go. Why did I stumble on that? What is it, Lady Neptune? I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but after discussing the matter with Histy, we've made the difficult decision to shut down the arcade. as a matter of national planetary policy, pull out of all arcade operations. But that's one of the things Sega is known for. Uh-oh. What? God, my voice didn't work then. Just what? Don't worry. It's not like the arcades are closing completely. It's just that we won't be involved with them anymore. But now that this has happened, I'm afraid we don't have any say in how they're run anymore. All of this is to say, you have to contact the arcade yourselves. Don't worry. If we keep our eyes on the prize, I know we can do anything. Sorry we can't help you. Well, okay. We've got some super duper important business to do. See ya. Hey, sis, wait up. Goodbye, everyone. Bye. What happens from there? Sis, what you said back there, is it true? When did that happen? While we were sleeping. All that's been going on around here, we can't afford to run the arcades anymore. I know how those girls feel. I wish it didn't have to be this way. I was really reluctant to do it too. I cried and begged Histy to find a way to make it work, but in the end... Yeah, I guess of how tough things are in Planetune. You said it. It was such a bummer. But we have to stay positive. Once we rebuild Planetune, maybe we can run the arcades again, right? I'm gonna work hard to make it happen. And I hope you all help me do it, Neptunia. Yes, of course. We'll do it together, sis. Well, boing like a kangaroo or a bunny, but, you know, we don't hear that anymore. We might do with Neptune. We might put her in the group a little bit just so we can see if she bounces around like that.
Wanna check out some gun shops?
Because that's a thing we should test. The first time I time traveled, I rushed to the PC continent. There, I worked with the 4 goddesses and defeated Arfoire, who had just been revived. My name is Arfoire. I will deal despair to all living things. It's a very nice pair. I'm quite proud of it. And bring forth the end of all things. Blessed. How are you so powerful already? You just woke up. Neptune, hold on. Noir? Why are you stopping me? Look closer. I don't know if it's because of Arfoire's revival, but the dimensional space is unstable. It was in that time-space rift. At this rate, we'll be swallowed into the PC continent. We'll have to evacuate the citizens before that happens. We have to choose to either fight Arfoire or evacuate the people. I mean, the obvious choice, considering what Arfoire can do, unfortunately, is to fight Arfoire. That's where you save the most people. Unfortunately. It's that case of like, yeah. What's the greater good? That's how you'd have to play it. Where does the goddess of the PC continent when you need her most? Something could have happened to her. Considering how much influence Arfoire has gained, you can't expect much. For better or for worse, Arfoire still hasn't attacked. We should focus on evacuating the citizens. There is no need for that. I've ordered all citizens to evacuate. Who are you? Are you from the PC continent? It's goddess candidate. My sister, the goddess, is currently unavailable, so I'm acting in her stead. But never mind that. Arfoire must be defeated at once. If not, the PC continent and the entire world would be destroyed. The world would be destroyed? That's huge. What's happening? Now here's the thing. Considering this game is like following the canon and everything, the original canon timeline, like if we're following like the canon, right? It ends in its destruction. Like that's just what happens. Like Arfoire gets revived and wins. And Neptunia is the last one surviving out of the ones we know, and she dies. And then Maho travels back in time. Like that's where the timeline ends as far as we know. In the correct way as it is meant to be laid out. So like the time travel is going to alter that. So it's that case of it's gonna get very weird. Like I've said this before, like it's Neptunia is approaching SMT levels of craziness with its time aspects and its dimensional stuff, because SMT is a mess. An absolute mess. There's charts and everything for how all the dimensions work, how all the timeline works. Like Persona is a series, right? Persona goes Persona 1, Persona 2, which ends, this is a spoiler, but it's so old, you know, statute of limitations and all that, they're gone. But Persona 2 ends with them rewriting time, and there's another Persona 2. There's 2 Persona 2s. And Persona 2 follows on from Persona 1, but Persona 2 doesn't follow on from Persona 1 because that's a different timeline now. Because there's 2. Yeah. And so Persona 3, Persona 4, Persona 5 then follow on from the new split in the timeline, the newer Persona 2. Yep. That's essentially what we're getting here. Like, the timeline as it would have been would have ended with the destruction of game industry. But Maho has traveled back in time, so the timeline is now split off from what it was. So, like, the canon has 2 lines branching out of it. Like, it's not a different ending or anything like that, a true ending or anything like that. It's like, no, the timeline has now splintered off from what the main canon timeline was. SMT gets crazy. It's on that level. It's on that level. It's just crazy. But especially because of how their multiverse works, it's very similar to Neptunia's multiverse, where, like, take for instance Persona 3 Portable, male and female protagonists, which is canon, both. Like people be like, no, the male one's canon. Like, the male one is canon with Persona 4 and Persona 5, yes. But that's not how SMT works. It's all canon. The same actually kind of applies to Neptunia. All the universes are canon because they all exist. I feel like this is going to get very complicated in terms of what it's doing to canon. Because again, we've got a timeline split now. Yep. So it's going to get fun. It's going to get fun. I like this type of stuff, but it's going to be complicated. And I imagine some people will be like, no, therefore it's not canon. Like, no, that's not how it works. It's not how it works. And it's gonna get worse. I feel it. I feel it coming. Anyway. I have no time to explain, but if you destroy her dark share crystal, we'll have a chance. But I cannot fight her alone. I need your help, goddess. Please. Don't look at us like that. You're a goddess. Keep it together. Like, if it was going with the Steins Gate situation, it would be a case of like, no, there is only one timeline and that changes and there's different attractors and stuff like that. There's only one timeline. The other timelines don't exist. Whereas here, it's like, no, the other timelines do exist. And because they splinter off from the main canon, they are canon, especially because they interact back with the other timelines. It's like, oh no, what have you done? You've taken it to SMT levels of crazy. Neppy, I mean Purple Heart. Thank you. Either way, if you need to us like that, then we'll have no choice but to help. Indeed, it would make us some pretty terrible goddesses if we denied you. I'm very worried about what's going to happen with the endings in terms of the timelines. I might have to draw up a chart to explain what I mean. Yeah, bring it on. Thank you, everyone. Let's go then. Time to beat up Arbor, or whatever she wants to call herself these days. And so we teamed up and managed to defeat Arfoire. Oh. Oh dear. Oh, what are you doing? What about the awesome stuff I did to save the day? Isn't there more flashback? My big finale got cut short. Like some show that got cancelled too soon. It's gonna take forever if she included that too, so just be quiet. Grace sister, please continue. Okay. We managed to defeat Arfoire, but that turned out to be a mistake. Defeating her was. Yes, but we didn't know, not until 2 years later. 2 years. Didn't realize it for 2 years. By the time we did, it was too late. Everything was all over then.
Grey sister, what's the matter? Is someone there?
Yes, I can sense something. Come out! We know you're there! Hi, everyone. It's been a while. Henri.
You're surrounded, Henri. You're the terrorist who stirred up the refugees from the PC continent.
I'm going to draw up a simple diagram at the end of this part, just to show you what I mean in terms of like how the timeline sits with main canon as it stands right now. It may change by the end of this part, but that's my plan, just so you can be on the same wavelength of like how my mind's thinking, showing you like what main canon is. Because right now, yeah, again, like main canon has split off from main canon. Yep.
On top of that, we have proof that you're affiliated with the remnants of ASIC. I'm sorry, but you are not getting away. You're going down. Wait, sis. Please let me talk to her. Nepgear. Henri, why did you do that? Did you do this for the PC continent? I'm sure it's been a tough transition, but violence is not the answer here.
Oh, please. Do you still think I'm Henri?
Nah, not really.
Huh? Who are you? Oh, yes, that's the face. That's what I wanted. Nepgear.
Look at those eyes.
How does it feel to have a former friend become your enemy? Does it hurt you? Does it bring you great pain? And how does it feel to watch your nation become ravaged by acts of terrorism?
I'm feeling kinda icky.
Is that you, Arfoire?
Yes, it is.
That's right. I am Arfoire. I will bring destruction to the world.
Oh no. You've been masquerading as Henri this whole time?
That's impossible. Arfoire had already been defeated.
See, because this is the thing. It's like, I imagine Arfoire's been around for a while in several different locations, because we still don't have an answer to what's been going on with Maho in those several moments where she's acting strangely, like when she was knocked out, when she got like that poisoned goo or whatever, and she was knocked out, yet she was still there. How did that make sense? Like, what happened with the shard of the sword that will not be named? What happened to that? No, what happened with, yeah, what did happen with that? Can't remember now. But no, I mean the disc fragment. Like, that disappeared as well. I imagine that was actually Arfoire. So what's going on there?
That's right. We subdued Arfoire with our own hands. We'll think about it later. This world has no future as long as Arfoire is still in it. How dare you! We'll avenge Henri and everyone else. Yeah, we're mad now.
Do as you wish. I will neither run nor hide.
Arfoire, you will meet your end. Ah! It's finally over.
What did you do? What did you do? What did you do? My mind's instantly, how could you have defeated her so quickly? There's only one sword that could have done that so quickly.
Well done, Nepgear. But this is not the end. Yes, be wary of betrayal.
She's so icky till the end. It's done now.
It's finally over. The world is now saved. I did it, everyone.
But something's strange. Something just isn't right. What's the matter, Nepgear? Arfoire was defeated.
You're overthinking it, Nepgear.
No, I don't think she is. How many Arfoires are there?
Rom? I told you that this is not the end. Huh? The way she's talking. It's a bit young, but this body is nice. It's surging with power. Although she's only a candidate, she is still a goddess.
So, is this going to be a case of the only way to stop Arfoire would be to kill all the goddesses? Not even to the case of like where there's one remaining. Like no, the only way to solve this problem would be a ending worse than the conquest ending.
Rom?
The way you're talking. Oh no.
You're Arfoire?
Like, we can't let her get into anybody who's powerful. Therefore, that's all the goddesses. I don't like where that oh no. Oh no. Don't go that way, game. Arfoire revived? What's going on? What did Arfoire do? The resurrected Arfoire has somehow gained new powers. Power to control someone's body. Do you understand how formidable an opponent with this ability is? She can revive herself infinitely. That is correct. It's to do with the share crystal, isn't it? Because that makes sense, the infinite share crystal. We don't know who Arfoire will control or when, which is incredibly dangerous. I see, so that's why Arfoire inhabited Rom's body and stirred up tremendous chaos in Louis. You were unable to stop it. That other timeline's me is pathetic. I'm not sure she had much of a choice, especially when it comes to a problem involving Rom and Ram. All of Louis was felt around the world. Faith in the goddesses was lost, and the continent was thrust into an endless war. Now, how many times she's defeated, she just takes over another person's body? She's essentially immortal. Arfoire originally was sort of a soul that needed some kind of vessel. Now you're saying she has developed the ability to take over whichever one she pleases? There's a chance everything you experience can happen again. That's exactly right. So I traveled to the past again to try and redo this. So it's like, yeah, so we got... This is why it's like, oh, this is going to get complicated. So we got the canon timeline went straight onto the end of the world, which led to her traveling back in time, which led to a split, which again, still canon. So the first split still canon, but then that led to the end of the world. So she went back in time, which led to another split, which again, still canon. But it's that sort of thing like, does that mean the previous two timelines are not canon? It's like, no, they are required for the new canon to exist. It's like, it's this weird thing of like, you need to follow Maho's perspective because that's what's going on with the canon now. It's like, the perspective of the time traveler is causing the shift, but they need the experience of the previous timelines in order to cause that shift. So it's like, are those timelines canon? It's like, they have to be, otherwise this canon can't exist. Like, those timelines have to exist or this timeline doesn't exist. It's that kind of logic. It's like, oh god, this is going to get messy. This is going to get messy. But yeah, that's exactly like what's traveled into the past and redo this. Wait, you mentioned before that time travel needs a great amount of energy, equal to the life force of a goddess. Yes, that's right. Where did that come from? Don't worry, I didn't murder any goddesses. I gathered the share crystals left behind by the goddesses of each nation. By then, the goddesses were already... Oh, I'm sorry. It's okay, I reaped what I sowed. So couldn't you? Right. Couldn't you? Like, we know Gerharburn exists. We know that sword is a thing. Although there is a fragment of it which implies something else. But can we not simply gather up all the share energy into Gerharburn, then take it back in time? Although, who do you attack with that? Like, how do you use Gerharburn against Arfoire when she has the ability to take control of someone else? Gerharburn isn't going to work. What do you do? Ooh, this story's getting really interesting. I'm really interested in like the implications it has for like canon itself. Like they could, if they wanted to, they may do for all I know. Time travel back before previous games. Like say they'd like traveled back to say before Rebirth 3. Or V. Yeah, before V. I was trying to remember what it was called. Yeah, before V. They could time travel back before then and make them games not happen anymore. But again, they still have to have happened in order for the time travel to exist, so therefore they couldn't happen. Like I said, this can get complicated depending on what they do. It's okay, I reaped what I sowed. Managed to gather enough energy to time travel and jump to the past once more. I jumped back to the very day that Arfoire was revived once again. I just jumped back far enough. And you got it, right? Hold it! Neptune? Again? It's not me. It's me. Okay, wait, if you can jump to the past, why don't you stop the ice crystal from being developed in the first place? Yeah, Blonde. This is exactly my thought. You could travel back way before this and stop everything heading in this direction. It's impossible. Why? The time machine can return to the past, but it does have a limitation. Why? It can't go past the day of the PC continent vanishing. Why? Why? I found that the most difficult thing about time travel is arriving at the exact time, dimension, and location you want. Time is a concept which exists on a much higher plane than this world itself. Tremendous computational power is required just to navigate it. Originally, Ziri was an AI created to perform such calculations. She was not made to fight. What, so she's the time machine? Can I touch her? Of course not, and stop interrupting. Normally, even with Ziri, calculating time travel would take 12,000 years. So to travel 12,000 years into the future, you'd have to calculate for 12,000 years. That'd be 12,000 years later. That's not usable at all. You're able to time travel to the time and place you aim for then. You make use of a strategically placed marker. The revival of Arfoire created a space-time rift above the PC continent. Use the gigantic rift created at the time as a sort of landmark for our jumps. Surely there is previous landmarks you could use, though. Obviously they don't want to, but you could. But even relying on those, calculations for that take years to complete. I see. Reversing dimensions via coordinates is tricky, but if you calculate it backwards from the rift, it becomes possible. Exactly, Neptunia. You understand immediately? And I think the one who cracked the formulate for calculating the coordinates is even more amazing. I'm not sure I follow all this fairy chat, but at the very least, yeah, I imagine there's some of you out there being like, what are you on about with this timeline split, canon stuff? You may just be blonde. Again, I'll probably do a diagram at the end of this if I remember, because I need to show you what I mean. I'm not sure I follow all this fairy chat, but at the very least, I get that you can't simply jump through time all willy-nilly. Okay. So we've got a lot going on there. So as it stands, based on what she said, she's jumped back in time twice. So the canon timeline has split once and created a new timeline that also resulted in the end of the worlds. And then she jumped and that's caused another split in the canon timeline. And again, I want to reiterate, it's like those canon timelines had to exist. Like just because that like those futures don't exist anymore now, they have to have had existed in order for the timeline to change. Otherwise, it would end in the end of the world. It's like we only exist how we are now because of those splits. Therefore, those splits are important. This is why it's like, again, relating to like Persona 2. It's not that the previous Persona 2 is no longer canon. Its canon is important to understand why the new Persona 2 exists. Like Persona 3 cannot exist without both Persona 2s. Like I said, we're at SMT levels of nonsense and craziness in dimensional travel and time travel now. Oh joy, because the chart for SMT is huge. Because, like, this thing, if you ask someone, what is the mainline SMT, like, story. Like, what is the mainline SMT? It's like, now are you talking which is the main series? Or are you talking which is canon? Because then you get into complicated territories, because SMT3, which is Nocturne, is not in the same universe as SMT2 or 4. And 5 isn't in the same one as 4 or 3. But they are the mainline games. This is why it's like I say we start dropping the use of the word mainline, because it's like it causes complications. It's like we've got different connotations with it everywhere. But I think I'll throw up a chart now after I finish speaking, so you can get a visualization of what I mean in terms of like this leads to this, this leads to this, this leads to this. Because I think that's the best way of doing it, really, isn't it? Yeah. So from me right now, we'll end this part here, but there'll be a bit from me after. Now, okay, so as you can see, I've very much simplified like the timeline as it stands. Like they've got branches off into different endings, but just for this point, very, very simple. So you can see an example of a simple timeline at the top. It's like Neptunia Rebirth 1 leading into Neptunia U. There's enough in Neptunia U to suggest it is in the same timeline as Rebirth 1, that same dimension. So it's in the future of that timeline, straight timeline. Simple as that. It's just whoop. There it goes. Follows on from its true ending. Boom. There it goes. This is how the mainline canon timeline is at the moment based on this part where we are in the story in this video. Where it will stand later, no idea. But right now, this is how it stands based on what we've been told, which is we start at Rebirth 2, then we go from the true ending in Rebirth 2 to Rebirth 3, true ending into V2R, and then into Four Goddesses Online, because that's just a little offshoot where they just go play a little MMO for a while. Still in the mainline canon though. But then we go to Sisters vs. Sisters. The timeline for the world itself goes on to the point where R4 destroys the world, essentially. Like, she takes over, she's won, yay for her, kind of thing. Then Maho jumps back in time, so we've got that skew, and the timeline is new again, but that leads to R4 winning again, so she goes back in time, so it skews, and according to what she said so far, that's where we are. There's probably more jumps she's done, but according to what she said, that's roughly where we are, so that's why that line is partway across. So my point here is, those previous timelines that led to R4's victory are required for us to be where we are now. So you need those things to exist for that skew, the diagonal to appear. For that to happen, for her to go back, that needs to have previously existed. Even though they're different dimensions of how this world works. They are previous canon dimensions. Yep. Like I said, we're getting into some real SMT madness here with the timelines. Because there's lots more as well that you could do with this. Like maybe one day someone will make like a big massive map of how all the canon stuff works, what dimensions are where, what connects to what. Maybe someone will do that in the future. It may even be me, for all we know. But someone will do it, and it'll be as crazy as the SMT one. If you want, go look up on Google SMT timeline or SMT multiverse, and you'll see the picture. And you'll see it's like, part of it is like this. Part of it, but it's much, much worse. So hopefully that gives you an idea of what I'm meaning, where it's like, well, it's all canon. Like, the end of the world is canon, because it had to be, in order for us to be where we are with canon. Yeah, so it'll be a case of like, we'll most likely head to a point in the story where we undo everything or something like that. That it still all had to happen, sort of thing. Otherwise you can't undo it. Yeah, we're in SMT crazy levels of canon timeline now. Yay! Oh no. It's gonna cause so many arguments on the internet over what is canon and what isn't. It just is. It happens with SMT. So anyway, we'll see you in the next part. Oh yeah, this is why this video is late today, by the way, because I had I had to make this and talk about this. Like this is me today. By the way, coming back and sorting this. I forgot to do it. My bad. Sorry about that. But anyway, we'll see you in the next part. Ta-da for now.